his knitting pattern book for his granddaughter. A good way to use up different fabrics. Look at that, half a dress one and half a dress the other, and it's by French Connection. What's the back like? Just plain. Look at this. Oh, interesting. So the pattern goes around the back there. Stand back. That's the back. And that's the front. Could do that, ladies. Price reduced to £68. Well, we've been to Darlington shopping. Sunshine in his face there.
Sunshine in my face.
Sunshine in his face.
There's a song there somewhere.
Sunshine on my pillow makes me
happy.
Sunshine on my pillow makes me
warm.
I don't know. I thought it was blue.
Blue.
Don't know. I wouldn't have thought sunshine on your pillow would make you blue, but never mind. Anyway, we've been shopping in Darlington. We've been buying presents for his grandkids again. I bought a jigsaw. I thought I'll buy a jigsaw because when we used to go to France for New Year, we used to take a jigsaw with us, and we would lay it out, and anybody who wanted to have a bit of a jigsaw puzzly thing would do it. So I thought I'd see how it goes. Not sure how far it'll go. We've got a spare little table, we'll put it on, and maybe the granddaughters might want to potter on with it a bit. You never know. But it'll be there, and we'll just see what happens. Didn't spend a lot of money on it. Been to the art shop. We've been looking for
Waterstones.
Been to Waterstones. We were looking for a book, a little child's book on learning to knit, because his granddaughter wants to learn to knit. His ex-wife can knit. I can knit, but I'm not a great knitter. I'm more of a crochet person.
And I'm just a knit.
He's a knit. And so we finally found one in the Works. There's a shop called the Works. The latest lady very kindly found one. We think it's going to be appropriate. She's quite bright, so she should be able to pick it up quite well. And she's got her other granny to show her how to knit. So there you go. We are on our way home now. We've had a lovely little cruise. Oh, we stopped off. Went into House of Fraser for a coffee, and I asked him if he wanted something to eat, and he didn't want anything to eat, so just had a coffee. So a mini cruise.
Mini cruise.
A mini cruise to oh, there you go. The sunshine's gone now. Mini cruise shopping. We've never been to Darlington for years, have we? It must be a good...
Although, I have to say, I was quite disappointed in that it wasn't very busy.
No, there was hardly anybody in.
When you consider it's the last Saturday before Christmas, and there were about as many people there as you'd find probably on a warm summer's afternoon.
Yeah.
Not many.
We were quite surprised. It wasn't heaving the week before Christmas. We thought there'd be a lot more people there. Not to be. Actually better, because we could get parked and everything, but feel sorry for the shopkeepers.
Yeah.
We used to have a shop in the town. We used to sell, I used to make silver jewellery and it was gifts and things we used to sell as well. And we found, when I ran my dad's shop, we used to be busy the last week before Christmas, and we found just before we closed our shop down that it was busy just 3 days before Christmas, wasn't it? That
we did overtime on Christmas.
All your business came on the 3 days before Christmas, and he insisted on staying open really late on Christmas Eve to catch the men who had forgotten anything. And it did. They used to come in and buy, I think we stayed open until 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock on Christmas Eve. Yeah. And then I had to start wrapping my presents, so that was what we used to do. Thankfully, we're out of that now. I think we're pleased. Those were happy days, nice memories. but thankfully we haven't got to do that anymore. Right, well, I'm going to go because the sunshine's getting in my faces, and we'll catch you later. Bye. Good evening, everybody. It is the 17th of December and it's 7 o'clock. And I almost didn't vlog tonight. I just thought, I was sat in the lovely warm room watching TV, and I just thought, oh, I can't be bothered. But then I thought, no, I'm going to go and vlog because I know some of you look forward to it. Anyway, so I'm not going to be very long. I'm going to be pretty quick because I've just had to put the heater on. It's cold and we'll get started straight away. I'm going to do Sherlock Holmes. Anyway, so the next one is called Hideous Mr. Harris. It is hideous, Holmes said, putting down the paper he was reading to look at me. Mr. James Harris, you know the man. I mean, Watson. I nodded and replied, he's the head of the poorhouse, a despicable character. I totally agree, Holmes said, sounding angry for once. My friend pointed at the newspaper. Not only does he force the children there to live in poverty, with no heating and barely enough to eat, now the newspaper reports that he's been gambling away the funds of the poorhouse. Well, they are on to him now. I nodded in agreement and was about to reply when the doorbell rang. Half an hour later, we entered a warehouse down at the docks. An impatient Lestrade and two of his men were waiting for us. About 15 foot above our heads, a man with a rope around his neck was dangling from the roof. He had been strangled to death. We recognized him at once. It was Mr. Harris, the director of the poorhouse. We just read about him in the newspaper. He was hanging very high up indeed. Suicide, Lestrade muttered. But how did he get up there? Does that have anything to do with it? He wondered, pointing at a small mound of ashes and a puddle of water on the ground directly beneath the body. He certainly didn't fly up there and put the noose around his neck. And what was his motive anyway? Everyone knew he embezzled funds. It never bothered him before. He didn't put an end to his own life, Holmes said, piping up for the first time. His death is part of a very nasty scheme and another message to me. Ooh, so it's cold in here. It's flipping freezing. I won't turn this up higher. He hasn't killed himself. Somebody's done it to him. He's been murdered, according to Holmes. And, we'll find out at the end, won't we, girls and boys? So, we shall go to number 17. 17 on here, and I've only got a few left. Can you see? So the number 17 is in fact a globe. It is a globe. A globe of the world. And the globe goes, the globe goes up in the bedroom, there at the front of the bedroom. So we'll do that, we'll go and put that there. Number 17 is in this corner here. Don't know if you can see there, number 17. So I'm going to open it up. There, number 17. It's just got a poinsettia there. So let's hear what the music is. Oh, I know what that one is. We wish you a Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Let's get back to the answer, the clue to Hideous Mr. Harris. Remember, Mr. Harris is the head of the poorhouse, and he was gambling the poorhouse money, and the children had no food and anything, or no food and no heating, and they found him hanging down at the docks in a warehouse. How silly of me, Lestrade grimaced. I should have guessed. Everything in this city revolves around the great master detective. Well, at least it wasn't an innocent victim this time. Perhaps one of the orphans of the poorhouse took revenge. That could possibly be a motive, Holmes agreed, and Lestrade looked pleased at the unexpected praise. But how? Look, Holmes pointed at the puddle of water on the ground. These are the last remnants of a large block of ice melted by, here he pointed at the ash, a burning log, the remains of which we see here. So you think Mr. Harris was standing on a block of ice? I asked. Holmes nodded. And as the ice melted, the support gave away and the murderer's work was finished for him. Lestrade interrupted Holmes. But Mr. Harris could have arranged the ice block and the fire himself. Perhaps he has a guilty conscience after all. Not at all. The murderer's no innocent orphan. I'm sure he's none other than Sebastian Moran, who has already told us that Sophie is being kept captive somewhere here in these docks. This just goes to prove how serious this abduction really is. The body has since been cut from the rope and was lying on the ground. Holmes bent down and removed a note from the dead man's coat pocket. He had been right. Your truculent niece doesn't have much time left, he read out aloud. So it was Moran. Moran did it. Holmes needs to get his niece found ASAP. I hope he gets her found before Christmas. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the little bit of snippet I had at the front, at the beginning, and I started wrapping the presents today and I couldn't be bothered. I thought, well, I've got till tomorrow night. My daughter's husband is a fireman and he's working this weekend, and they're going to set off after he's finished his shift. But she was saying that after we've just had some children, 4 little children killed skating on ice, going onto ice, and they fell through up in Birmingham, not round where I live, but in Birmingham. And my daughter was saying that apparently there's been a lot of people doing the same thing down in the south where he works, and they had to go and tell them to get off the ice, and they were hurled with nothing but verbal abuse. People saying, we've done it before, we know what we're doing, and they were skating on the ice with their children. And obviously, you can understand the fire services, they actually, police and fire had to retrieve the bodies from the water in this lake, and obviously they're being told to go around all the lakes and make sure no one's going on them. They are on their way up tomorrow after work. I think they're going to take the turns in driving. 5-hour journey supposedly, but I think it might take longer because the trains have been on strike, and the trains have been on strike, and the trains are going to be on strike at the end of this week, which is going to stop a lot of people from being able to come up on the train, so they will be coming up in the cars. So fingers crossed that they get here safely. I'm going to love you and leave you and catch you tomorrow. Bye.